We're live. We're live. Yes, he's back. Yes, he's back. We are back in a much better auditory environment than last time. Welcome back to Channel Blue. I'm not really leaning into the blue in this environment tonight, but we'll take blue as a more theoretical blue and less of a literal blue. I have moved into this other room in a building in my backyard, and it's been incredibly gratifying for my creativity and just like life enjoyment. I'm someone that really appreciates silence and my personal space, and being able to live in a literal separate building while I'm here in the summer is so gratifying. It's so exactly what I need and is like the best living situation I feel like I've ever had in my life. I'm really just here in like a 1-bedroom with a little bath connected spot in this building, and it's so nice. I will say there aren't any like blackout curtains in the space, so it does get annoying to wake up to the sun being out for hours and sometimes glaring right into my face. But I'd rather wake up to the sun than wake up to noises that I don't like. So yeah, I really like it here, and not only do I like where I'm physically living in, but I also am really glad to be reunited with my hometown for the summer, where I've been posting most of these videos all summer so far. I go to college out of state, and I'm back here in my hometown for summer, and it's been very, again, gratifying. It's been very nice. This is kind of encroaching on the general topic that I wanted to talk about today, which was how your environment truly can affect you, positively or negatively. Your physical environment has such a huge sway on your mental functioning. It's been very noticeable, at least for me, and so I wanted to talk about it today because I think that's something that is very important for people my age to be considering, because as we are moving to different states for different opportunities or leaving high school to go to college, we might go to college out of state. There's a lot of moving going on in this kind of stage of life, and so I wanted to touch on that today because I feel like it's relevant. So yeah, but I've been so happy to be reunited with my hometown. It's wild how much of a difference these two different towns have on me. Like, my college town feels cramped. It feels dark. The street lights are few and far between, and they're dim. There are trees that go all the way up to the sky that hem you in and feel claustrophobic at night. The roads are tiny. They're narrow. It feels like half the roads in that city are 1-lane roads. Every time you see a clearing on your drive and you're excited to finally get out of the trees and be able to have a nice view, you drive out to realize that the view is just the view of the highway, and you were subconsciously expecting to come out over a river, but you realize that the bridge you're driving on is actually just an overpass over a highway underneath you, and you're just greeted with more soulless concrete. And then as you were reconciling with that disappointment, you drive right back into a narrow road encroached on all sides by gigantically tall trees, and you're back to having a very frustrating and saddening drive. I'm talking the physical environment you're in, down to what you see and smell and touch and hear. Like, not only are the people different, like culturally, but like mainly physically, like the actual environments is really what I'm talking about today. However, but here, the sun is actually out. The roads are wide. There's 3 lanes on either side sometimes. There's frontage roads. The highways are massive. They're beautiful. They're massive. The concrete is light and reflects the light of the sun right back at you in the most overpowering but endearing and enlightening way. You never feel like you're hurting for light in this city. The city has a lot of trees as well, but the trees are much more lower to the ground, and the city is also hilly too. And so oftentimes you'll be driving, and then without even knowing what to expect, you suddenly come over the top of a hill and have a most beautiful view where you can see for miles and miles of just trees and city and more hills and the sun and the sky, and it's just absolutely brilliant. It's magnificent. There are restaurants here that I actually like that are just exclusive to this state. They actually just opened like an In-N-Out in my college town, and like that's exciting, but it's like 30 minutes away, so I'm not going to drive 30 minutes for a burger and a milkshake. Maybe once a month I'll do that, but that's about it. It's insane to note how much more like hope and an ability to see the beauty in pain I have when I'm here in my hometown that I do not possess when I'm in my college town. It feels like when I'm in my college town, I'm at war. I'm fighting to be happy. I'm fighting to find gratefulness. I'm fighting to feel safe and not stressed. And obviously, part of that is because I'm actually just in college doing college stuff. But I feel like things are going on that are causing crazy turmoil in my heart and my mind internally. And then when I come here to my hometown, I'm like, it's me assessing the damage. It's me recouping. It's me healing. It's me journaling. It's me exporting. It's me creating. It's me reflecting. It's me living through that process of processing what has happened in my college town. That very much feels like the two different like internal dynamics I feel when I jump between my college town and my hometown. And I think that it's not just the fact that I'm in college there and I'm here during the summer. I do very much feel like what's causing this difference in my mentality is I feel supported by the city in a way that I could never feel supported in my college town. Like here, I have a history, and not in like a saddening, I miss what's gone kind of way. I just have a history here where I feel like I know where I'm going. I don't need Google Maps. If my phone died, I could still remember my way back home from basically anywhere in the city. I can know when my favorite restaurants are going to close and plan accordingly on what I'm going to get at whatever time in the night it is. I'll be able to drive past locations and recall a time earlier this summer where I went with my friends to go to this comedy show in downtown. And I can feel comforted by the fact that I've lived through this environment. I've lived in this environment like you would break in like a leather jacket. Like this place feels lived in to me. There's a fond memory at every intersection. And that's very comforting, and it helps me in periods of life where I'm kind of like reevaluating myself, or, well, I wouldn't say reevaluating myself, but in moments of my life where I'm reflecting and growing and processing. It helps me to be in an environment where I feel that if it gets too much, I can be comforted by my surroundings. And in my college town, it's just like, it's not that way. Like, I don't know half the stores of where I'm at any given point. I rarely visit downtown. There are very rarely places naturally found to be of beauty there, in my subjective opinion of what I find to be beautiful. They do have a better mall in my college town than the mall that I have here, I will say. Way smaller than the mall that I have here, but the vibes are definitely way better in the mall in my college town. I will give my college town that. I will give it that. But adversely, I almost feel like every place I look at in my college town is a parking lot where someone said that they really appreciated having me in their life, and that person is gone now. Or here's this part of campus where like I went after this other person, walked out of my life. And this is a part of campus that I hung out with a friend group that ended up being really weird and manipulative and toxic. And I never talked to them again. And here's I don't know, like, here's a building I used to watch get built during a time where I was really depressed. Like, it's just like in the way that I can look around here in my hometown and feel comforted by different places I've experienced my life in overall positively. In my college town, I look and it's almost like I'm like I want to look away. I get jump scared by all these different places where I'm like, oh, I remember I was so happy that night, and like, look where that got me, or like, oh, that person, like, oh, it's just like everywhere I look in the opposite way. It's like there's a bunch of places where I'm like, I wish I could move on from that, but like I live here for like 9 months out of the year, and it's just like, oh my gosh, man, like I want to let this go, but like, and like it sucks because those nights where I was in that parking lot experiencing a joy that I had with a person that eventually walked out of my life. Like, those nights where I was happy were times where I was like, oh, finally, maybe I'll make like a good memory at this spot in the city, and I'll be able to have this. And like every time it's just turned into something sour. I remember driving down, I don't even know. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know what street it is. I remember driving down one of the city downtown adjacent streets one night and like talking with someone that I really liked spending time with, and like just talking about the flavor of the milkshake that I got at this fast food place, and like why I liked it and why I hated saying dessert names out loud in a drive-thru, and it made me inherently uncomfortable, and like just having conversations about nothing important, and like feeling really excited to have a positive memory, a positive experience in this space, because I want to find beauty in where I live, because I know the importance of that for myself, because I see it in how I live here in my hometown. Like seeing beauty everywhere I look is so fulfilling for me. And so I'm excited to do, like, I was excited to do that in my college town. And like, I remember driving down this street and just like having such a great time with this person. And like, now I actually tried like avoiding those streets now, because by association, I just like, it's so heartbreaking now to drive down that street when I accidentally drive down that street because the GPS took me down this way and I didn't want to go this way. It hurts, and I just feel really scared inside, and disappointed and heartbroken. And it's just like, I see that everywhere I go in my college town, and it's like quite the opposite effect of what I feel here in my hometown. So like, add that on top of the feeling where I'm actually like also in college and also busy doing classes as well. It's a perfect soup for being pretty discontent with your life. But yeah, all that to say, that experience of me being in college and like being busy with classes is not the only reason why I feel so much worse in my college town. It's also the product of my environment that is physically less compatible with what I like in a physical environment, but also like emotionally has been stained and tainted with all of these people that used to bring me light in the world that now have left a darkness inside of me, and I just see that everywhere I go. And it's just like, I feel like I'm emotionally walking around eggshells whenever I'm traveling around the city. And it's hard. It truly is hard to thrive in a place like that. But like, I'm gonna try, like, especially this next year and moving on, hopefully, if my camera doesn't break, like, I'm gonna be getting a camera most likely this summer that's my own, and I'm gonna be able to bring it with me back to my college town. And for Channel Blue, like, I'm gonna keep going out to different places and recording and, filming my YouTube videos in different spaces that I do find to be beautiful, because that's like a requirement for these locations that I film at, is like, they're locations that I like. They're locations that I find to be beautiful or comforting in some way, or just like awe-inspiring in some way, or just like sick and like awesome. I'm excited to try and go back, because I've also overall like been quite a shut-in. Most of those times where I'm talking about going out into the city and being confronted with all these different negative associations and stuff, it's usually when I'm just like going grocery shopping. Like I don't go out very often. I just go out all the time whenever I need to get groceries, or whenever I need to, I don't know, what else do I do? I really feel like I mainly just get groceries or just, I guess, like a convenience store if I need something. I don't know. But like with this camera that I'm going to be hopefully getting and going out and filming for Channel Blue, like I'm excited and hopeful to see if like maybe if I try harder to look for beauty in my college town, I'll be able to find it, and I'll be able to start having places that I can visit when I'm feeling down to make me love life just that much more. But yeah, I don't know. I noticed something about myself maybe like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. I was kind of in that like half awake, half asleep state where you're like kind of almost done sleeping, but not quite ready to like wake up yet. I realized I was dreaming, and then I was actually physically laughing in my sleep at like a joke that like my friend made or something in my dream. And it was crazy to notice that about myself. By the way, that doesn't seem like a huge revelation, but for me, that was huge to notice that about myself, because in my college town, this is more to do with just the fact that stuff actually did happen. But like in my college town, like every morning I was waking up and I was thinking of people, of friends that used to like me and didn't anymore. And like I would wake up and my first thought would be like one specific person that I got really close to every single morning for like months. And it was so crazy because it had been a while since then, and like I had been here in my hometown for like a good month, also like month and a half, I guess at that point. And I was like, holy crap, things have changed. Like I've been hanging out with one of my best friends, and I've been hanging out with her like often, like 3-4 times a week, and we've been hanging out all the time. We've been doing so much cool things. I've been eating food that I actually like. I've been listening to amazing music. I've been able to live in my own space with quiet and peace, and like I've been making money, and like I just realized, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually like happy again. And like I have so much more to learn and grow in, but I feel that like I can do that, and like I will be able to get there because I'm happy, and I know it. Like I know I'm happy. And it was crazy to note that difference. And like from waking up and the first thing being like thinking about a person that hates my guts now and they used to like me, to realizing I'm laughing at a joke my friend is making in my sleep. Like I'm just joyous. Like it was just so healing to notice that about myself. And like when I go through stuff in my college town, and when I say like how I feel and note that maybe I'm not in the best like mental headspace, like I'm not just saying that because like I'm overreacting in any way. I just genuinely am not like supported in that environment nearly as much as I could be. I know, because moments like this happen in my life. Like I know what it feels like to feel closer to being like fulfilled and happy and joyous in life. Like I know what it feels like to be closer to that, because right now I feel closer to that. And so when I say like I'm not, like I'm struggling, or I'm not thriving, or like I'm having to persevere, or having to go through a tough season in that moment, like it is valid, because I do know what it feels like to be closer to a place where you feel hopeful about your future. And yeah, it was just so wild to me to know how much of a better mental headspace I was in. It really does affect you. It really, truly does. And obviously part of that, is just like with time, it's more easy to function with certain truths that you learn from hard times in life. Time does make it easier to function more fully. But apart from that, I do also think it is really my environment has really reminded me that there is beauty in the world, even when you feel like you've lost everything in one particular aspect of your life or your whole life. You're still capable of observing beauty in some way. And that in itself is beautiful, and that in itself is inspirational, and that in itself is comforting, and that in itself is exciting. That's something that living in a city where I actually feel like aesthetically and emotionally like supported in has taught me. Your environment really does make a difference. Anyways, I do have things to look forward to still. It still feels worth it to me. It's just, every time I go back for my next, academic year, I do have to do a little bit of bracing before I move back every year. Because it seems that just something really sad socially happens to me every year that I'm there. I just get like a new flavor of pain. And then I spend all summer of the next year just like recovering from that horrible mess whenever I go there. And that's really exciting. That's so great. That's genuinely how it feels at this point, having gone through 2 years of this now. But I'm not going to minimize pain by being like, but it's all part of the growing process, and just like I'm gonna grow from it and learn and be stronger because of it. Because like, even though that is true, I feel like it minimizes the truth that like to suffer is in itself like really not, it's really not preferable. Even though you do grow through it intensely, it's because you had to survive. You had to adapt to continue living, because what you're being faced with was so immovable and incomprehensible in its magnitude of pain that you had to change your worldview to become more nuanced and more complex and more storied, to be able to find a way to continue living with so much pain behind you. I don't really like being like, I'm stronger for all the pain that I went through, because I don't want to discount the fact that like, even though I am stronger and I've done so much growth so rapidly because of all these unfortunate seasons I've been in, I'm also not about to discount I've been through some crazy shit, and that can just be the end of that sentence. It doesn't need to be sugar-coated with the fact that I've grown because of it. Like, I have just gone through some really saddening stuff to me. That can be the whole statement. We're kind of getting on a different topic here now, and I'm getting delirious because I'm very tired. So I'm going to end things for this video right about now. I hope you guys have enjoyed my ramblings tonight. I'm going to keep doing my thing. Probably my next video will be hopefully recorded on my new camera. So excited. I've been saving all summer for this stupid little camera. I'm so excited to get it. It's so exciting to me. The camera quality will be better if I also figure out how to export my videos properly as well. Still figuring that out, because I really have only uploaded one video before this one that was actually filmed on a real camera and not my MacBook's photo booth. We'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Like, subscribe, and the rest of that spiel. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Until next time.